Well, welcome back to another episode of Conscious Living. Today we're here with the lovely Larissa, also known as Citadel. You can follow her at Citadel Soul Music on Instagram. Larissa, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
Could you start by telling us and the listeners a little bit about yourself and your background?
Cool. So, I guess where do I start? I'm a singer-songwriter and a healer. That's kind of how I group it together. I just love creating spaces through energy and through music to support people to come back to their heart, to their soul. And so I guess I do that in those different ways. But yeah, I started out as a singer-songwriter. I've been playing music since I was a teenager, singing, and then started playing the piano that was in my house. And I got piano lessons when I was 7 for a couple of weeks, and I said to my mum, like, I don't want to play what the teacher's making me play, like I just want to play like what I want to do. And I guess I'm still like that. So I started playing the piano in my parents' house when I was about 15 and just started making up songs and not really knowing what I was playing. So I taught myself from there and kept writing music and was in a pretty conventional, I guess, normal, conservative family and within the music industry. And it wasn't until maybe, I think it was 3.5 years ago, where stuff really started to shift and change for me. So as a teenager, I started getting headaches when I was about 12. And so it wasn't until I think I was about 28 that I started to figure out what was going on. So that path of always investigating, like, these headaches, like why am I getting these headaches? And a lot of it was symptom relief. So I remember a doctor prescribed me Valium, like, as a teenager.
Wow.
And I didn't take that for very long, I don't think at all. Saw like thousands of like chiropractors, got a new pillow, got a new school bag, got a new bed, like got my eyes checked. Like, there was just so much investigation, always kind of coming from a good place. Like, my parents were really supportive, trying to help me, but always that symptom relief rather than listening to the body and going, okay, like, the body's out of alignment or it's out of sorts, and figuring out what that was. So when I was in my late 20s, I started to, I guess, take a more empowered approach and start to investigate. And it made no sense to me by that point to do that symptom relief, because like I knew I never, it only like helped me for a little while. So yeah, I had a spiritual awakening when I was overseas traveling for 3 months, like 3.5 years ago. And everything changed then. I went and had a massage when I was in Lagos in Portugal, like with a woman there who we'd been going to do yoga with, and she said, there's this woman here in Lagos, she's actually Australian, like, I think it'd really help you, like, with your neck. She like really helped me with my shoulder pain, nothing else helped. And like, by that point I was like open to everything. I'd already seen a psychic by that point, and like I was kind of open. My family's really conservative. But so I went and saw this woman, and I did 3 sessions with her, and just like completely changed my life. She was incredible and started talking about past life things and energy and all this stuff. And at the time I was kind of like, this is kind of weird, but there was a really small part of me that knew it as truth. And so I kept going, and I kept doing the meditations that she gave me, and started to feel energy in my body. Like, I remember I'd meditate and feel like the window was open, but it wasn't like the breeze on me. It was me starting to feel energy in my system. And so I kept doing those practices that she gave me, and then my partner and I, we got to America on our travels, and he was going off to Burning Man for the second time, and something in me was saying no to go to that, and I booked this yoga retreat. So I went to the yoga retreat, and when I got there was all these women talking about energy and talking about these things that I just discovered, and it was so divine and so beautiful. And the woman who ran the retreat, I said, give me some books I can read. You know, when you first get into this stuff, you're just like, more. So she told me to read A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, and Journey of a Soul, and Conversations with God. And so I started reading A New Earth on that trip, and just like blew my mind. And I started to get relief from my headaches at this point. And I tried meditation and yoga before, but it wasn't until I started taking the practice of meditation out of the chair and into my life. So like dropping into those moments of presence throughout the day and getting out of my head. And once I started having these moments of relief, I understood that like me thinking was just like, this was why I was getting headaches. Just like constantly churning, like the energy of that was creating pain in my head. And now to this day, if I get a headache, I know it's because I'm overthinking. Yeah. So it's like the answers we seek are always within us. But we don't believe that we have the answers, so we always look outside of ourselves. So I mean, if it took me that long to understand that, I'm still grateful, because now I feel like I guess I can fix or heal anything within me. The answer is always within. So I guess that journey of understanding my health brought me to spirituality, and as I started to heal myself, I became passionate about helping other people, as most healers do, I guess. And so really naturally the healing world started to blend with music. So even before that, I looked back on some of the songs that I'd written like years before my spiritual awakening. I was just like, how did I not see? Like I was just totally channeling like all this stuff. That was like really spiritual lyrics, and like how I couldn't see, it was like my creativity and my passion was like more ahead of myself. So now I've really blended healing with music, because that's still my passion. I love writing music, and now I do sound healing as well. And the voice is just breath with your vocal cords moving together, so the breath really ties in beautifully with sound. So I do breath work journeys and sound healing journeys, play music for yoga. I hold a full moon circle, which is kind of combining a lot of those things and creating that community that I didn't have when I first woke up. I felt kind of alone and unsupported in that spiritual journey, so I love kind of creating that space for others. I do lots of different stuff, but it's all around music and sound healing, breath, and I've done my Reiki training, so I kind of put that in there too. That's how I got here.
Awesome. Has music always been a part of your life?
Yeah, it definitely has. I grew up as a dancer mostly, but I remember when I was in year 2, so I was about 7, I said to my parents, like, I want to sing a song in the talent quest. So when you're that young, and I wanted to do that, I think I always knew I wanted to sing, but I was pretty I'm still so introverted and shy. I've never been that cliche performer and really outgoing. I've always been really quietly confident. So I think having to learn to move through the performing and entertainment industry as an introvert is kind of challenging, but I love music. I feel like I hear it comes into my body in a different way to other people. I don't know, it's just something that it's always been a passion of mine.
And how did you manage it when you were getting these headaches, like you said, since you were 12 until now, or until the last 3.5 years? How sort of did you feel then compared to now?
I used to describe it as like I would always have like a hat on, and it was like my world was so small. So like if you guys just go like this now, so we're just covering like we have a visor on, like how small does your world feel? Like your world is centered around you and how you feel. And so I guess I'm sure I wasn't like deeply connecting with people or like looking people in the eyes because I was just like in pain. Like that's so hard. Like as a kid, I just took so much Panadol, so much Nurofen, often to get through the day, or like I missed out on a lot of stuff. I think like socially that was really hard. And
so these headaches were like lingering all day. It wasn't just like a cool had a headache, now I take like, let's just say Panadols, and then it's just like the day is better, but they were like lingering all day.
Yeah, so like most of the time I'd take painkillers and get like an hour and a half, 2 hours relief, and then it'll just come back.
Wow.
Whereas most people kind of take Panadol and the headache will just go, as I'm kind of become aware of. So I mean, I know perseverance, like I really do.
Because for sure.
And I'm really, it's just like the perfect cocktail. So I'm a very hopeful person, and I have a naturally like sunny outlook on life. I feel like we're never dealt a card that we can't handle, but I think other people have told me if they were in my position, like they just couldn't have done it. But I just got used to living with pain, as most people with chronic illness do, and that became my new normal. And it wasn't until I didn't have the headaches I was like, oh my god, life is epic. But as a kid, it was tough sometimes, but and I think the hardest part was not having an answer, and feeling like something was wrong with me or something was broken, and you start to believe stuff. So when I'd see a new person be like, I know what's wrong, like I can definitely help you, and then the story start telling yourself is like, no, you can't, I've heard that before, and so you just keep creating that same reality. And so kind of understanding spirituality as an adult, oh my god, it's helped me so much. Feeling more empowered and control rather than just like giving my power away to a practitioner.
Do you think that spiritual element was always there, but it just needed that awakening, like you said?
I've always been a really sensitive person, like a sensitive kid, so feeling other people's emotions and like reading situations like really well as a kid, but not really understanding it. So like it wasn't until a few years ago that I started doing practices to like clean out my energy, and so now I've got to a place where, and it's pretty amazing, I only figured this out a couple of days ago, of I can tune into people's energy and feel exactly what they're feeling, but I can turn that switch on and off now, whereas before it was just constant waves, and I couldn't really discern or understand what was mine, what was someone else's. But now it's like I have this bubble around me, and if I choose to, I can tune in and understand someone, which is so beautiful, but I don't need to be in other people's energy all the time. So that's always been a part of me. My family, not spiritual or religious, so I was a really atheist family, so I'm kind of the black sheep really.
What made you so open-minded to like this woman in Portugal?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe you got a good feeling. Like I always feel for myself and Jess, sometimes you get a sense of that energy when you start speaking to someone and they're saying these things that you actually want to hear and it's making you feel better.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure if that was the scenario for you, but I know for myself in scenarios it's just like, well, what this person's saying, it's making me feel better, you know. And it's probably the same when you read specific articles or books and you're just like listening, these sorts of things are making me more interested in it. So
I think when I wouldn't have been aware of, I didn't know what intuition was like years ago. I didn't think I had intuition, but obviously I did. And I think when something resonates as truth, it's just, you just know within your heart, and sometimes it doesn't make sense, but I guess I think I just was so open to finding an answer at that point. I mean, I've been doing yoga and meditating, so I was somewhat open to it, and just, I think I just followed my intuition.
Was Reiki something completely new to you? How did you come across Reiki?
So, 3 years ago now. So after I kind of woke up, started being like an undercover spiritual kind of person. If my family ever found out, oh God, I was like so worried about that. Like, what would people think of me? Like, all that stuff. But I went to the Embodies Spirit Festival in Sydney and got a reading with one of the psychics there, and that was Yvonne George, who's like my mentor and my teacher now, and I see her every week pretty much since I've had that session with her. But she's a Reiki master and teacher, and so it just started getting the call. So my partner and I, Jake, we went to Burning Seed, which is like a regional version of the big kind of Burning Man festival in New South Wales. And he's like, we should take the speaker and you can like play some music, because everyone kind of, it's like service, so you just gift things, and it's not a barter, but everyone just gives, so everyone receives. It's really beautiful. He's like, we could like wheel you around on this platform and you could play some music. And I was like, no, I just want to, like sing for people, and I want to like put my hands on them. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do that. And I was like, it's so weird, like, and I'm not, like, I didn't grow up in a very touchy-feely family. I was like, why am I in this, like, but I just trusted that. So by this point, I'd like really connected with my intuition. And we got to Burning Seed and we had a little camp. And I think it was maybe the 3rd day we were there, this man walks into the camp, and Jake goes, Chris, like, do you know who that is? And I looked over, and it was a performer that we'd seen at Woodford Folk Festival the year before, and he was just like the most beautiful character, and his act was really like vaudeville and fun. And I just looked over and I was like, oh my God. And it was such a moment for us. And he just burst into tears at, like, I guess the love we had for like seeing him again, or like the impact he had. And he was having a tough time, and he said, we kind of were chatting, he said, would you mind giving me some sound healing? I was like, I'd love to, like, it's such a nice gift. And he like laid down, and then I just had my hand on him. I was like, oh my God, this is so perfect. And I didn't know what I was doing at all. I hadn't done my Reiki training, but I think, when it's time for you to connect with Reiki, like it will come into your life, and you know. So
how would you describe Reiki, just for someone that's not heard of it?
Yeah, sure. It's energy healing. So when you do your Reiki training, you have different levels of attunement. So your teacher will attune you so that you can channel Reiki energy, which is life force energy. So you're channeling source or spirit. So it moves through you, and you're giving it to your client or to the person receiving, and they take it and move it through their body in whichever way they need. So you just become a channel for it, really. But as you give Reiki, you receive it too, so that you keep giving it to people. Yeah, it's a really beautiful process. But yeah, once I did that, other stuff started opening. It's a pretty powerful practice.
Are you finding that more like-minded people are coming into your circle now, with how strong your beliefs are? For myself and Jess, I know we feel like a lot more like-minded people are coming in. I don't know, you just want to talk to them for longer and hear their experiences and see what they're doing and how it's affecting them. But what about for yourself? Do you feel people are coming into your inner circle, more like-minded people?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's like you have to kind of like wave or be seen a little bit so that people can find you. The synchronicities and everything lining up. Definitely opens up. Like meeting you guys. Like just every week you'll meet someone new. Or I think living with a more open heart as well. You're just like more ready and open to connect with others rather than like being like insular.
Yeah, that's so true.
When you were talking about the headaches, you were saying you noticed that it was just overthinking in your mind. How did sort of connecting to that energy and connecting more to self help to slow that? And like I'm not sure if you even know, if you know how that impacted it. But yeah, just becoming aware of it, and then did it sort of just go away? I'm not sure if you could speak on that.
Yeah, cool. So now that I've kind of cleaned out my energy, so I'm not full of everyone's emotions, and I'm like a cleaner vessel, and that I majority of the time don't have a headache. When I do have a headache, or I do feel like my emotional landscape is steady, so when I feel an emotion strongly, I can discern whether that's mine or whether that's someone else's. And now I see my body as this like incredible communication system, rather than it being broken or constantly in pain or letting me down. I mean, those programs that I ran for so many years are still kind of playing out in my life. But now it's like, I don't know if everyone's body does it, but I know clearly that my body communicates to me when like my heart or my soul aren't happy. We're all kind of connected. So I guess, I see it as a gift. It's an inconvenient gift sometimes, but it's a gift as well,
Do you find when you're doing things more for yourself that's bringing you like a much higher happiness? Because I know you said when you have too many thoughts, that's when things build up. And for myself, when I do a lot more things for myself, I'm a lot more happier, and then your environment is actually a lot happier around you. My happiness then goes on to Jess. And I'd probably say for yourself, do you find that?
Yeah, for sure. So I've had to kind of reinvent myself, and people who knew me a few years ago, I don't know whether they would think I was different, but I feel like a totally different person. And one of those things that was really challenging to do is to start to set boundaries and put myself before other people.
Yes.
So making choices regardless of what other people would think of me, or just starting to take care of myself in all different ways, like physically, emotionally, mentally, all that stuff. And some people in my life didn't like that, because they got to benefit from me having no boundaries, or always being there for them to support them in the detriment of myself. But as I've set those boundaries and taken care of myself, it definitely affects the people around you, for sure. There's a roll-on effect. And I think I had to sort of say, I don't want to hear negativity, it's more the like habit of complaining, or the habit of looking for the negative side of stuff. I had to kind of pull people up on that, because I just didn't want it in my world. I mean, be realistic, sometimes stuff's hard, but I think that affected people too. So now then they choose to look at things more positively,
Exactly.
with more hope. Or
Yeah,
definitely.
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It's so interesting.
I know.
I find. And because you were saying when you first came back as well, you were like, I don't want people to, like, or your family anyway, to look at me, because there's a lot of stereotypes, I think, about around the spiritual world. Has that changed now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know to the extent of like all the weird shit that I do. But I mean, I think it was only recently that I kind of just went like, I don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I guess the people I knew when I was 20 that, you know, they're still friends on Facebook, I'm like, actually, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like, my happiness is so much more important than what other people think of me. But that really kept me small for a long time. The fear of being seen as, like, especially like with my family, like the hippie, like that was just like, you know, I was so worried about that, and now I just own that. I'm like, I'm a big fat hippie lady.
But I think people put labels on things as well, and they put people in different categories. Like, you know, let's say the word hippie, the word spiritual. You know, if you took those words away, at the end of the day, people are just doing something different that makes them feel good. You know, and until people have these titles, and then they put you in a box over there and a box over there, and you're categorized over there, you're different from us. Well, then sometimes different's nice. Like, I always see that there's a big box here and everyone's doing this. Why not try something new? Why not, if it benefits you, if it makes you happier, you know? Actually, all these people over here actually happy, you know? And some people don't even ask themselves that at the start of the day. Am I going to be happy today? Am I, in my processes, what I'm doing today, is it going to bring me happiness? So I find it so interesting.
Yeah, like, if we were all the same, it'd be so boring. Like, just because someone's different to you doesn't mean that they're right or they're wrong, or you're right or you're wrong. But I mean, the ego loves to do the us first then. So if someone else is wrong, it makes you right. And I think people love to just, and I think they're just unaware of their ego playing out in that really subtle way. But yeah, we're all the same when it comes down to it.
How would you describe the sound healing process? So we've spoken about just like the Reiki itself, but then the combination of the sound and healing.
Cool. So with sound, I'm still kind of exploring and figuring all this stuff out, and it's progressing. My understanding of it is progressing quite quickly as well, and what I'm kind of exploring. But at the moment, I'll start where I began was just getting interested in like the science of sound. So there's been like loads of studies, and people use specific frequencies through music to speak to the body. So within the chakra system, we have 7 chakras in our body, from the base of our spine up to the crown of the head. These are kind of these spinning wheels that move energy around the body and move it to different parts. So we want these energy centers to be open and really balanced. So I started getting interested in these frequencies that speak to the chakras. So then I'd use these frequencies in my sound healings as more as like a chakra cleansing sound. And then maybe a year ago I was channeling. So when it's pretty whack, but I just roll with it. It's like when I'm singing, so it's just I'm using my voice, I'm singing, I'll hear the note next that I need to sing, or I'll see a vision of me like in a past life, and that'll give me some information about like what tone to use or what theme or story I need to express. So it's like I'm tuning into the client or the collective energy of the group, and being guided and shown what sounds and notes and tones to use that best serve that group.
South Coast Soul Fest. And
I was wondering where it was.
Yeah. So I was there.
That's right.
So and it was freezing, and we were all like rugged up in blankets in that tent, and it was just amazing. Like I just remember, and I was like, "This is so good."
When I was looking down at you guys, I was like, I'm freezing. I'm in a fur and like gloves, and I'm like, when I sing, I get hot.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, you guys, legends for being here.
But it was so nice. Like, should we start at a particular point, or?
Oh, I can just cut it. Like I can just like cut it.
I can't remember what we finished. Like what we're talking about.
Writing song.
Yeah. How the lyrics come to you in like it can be a 10-minute song.
Yeah, and just get the information kind of through me.
Well, I might just start.
Do you want to do the No. Okay.
Because I actually met Larissa at the South Coast Soul Festival, where you were singing, and we were getting a sound healing, and so we were just chatting earlier about how incredible that process is. So I would highly recommend anybody who is maybe thinking about it or interested, because I think it's something that might sound quite daunting, or just you're unsure about. It's sort of a bit of that hippie, like what is sound healing, and so I think it's really great to hear about how you can explain it and sort of the effects that it can have.
And as a person receiving, I always say, like, you guys don't really have to do anything. Like, if you're there, like if you're like in your head and you're busy with your mind, like your body's still receiving that energetically, you're still receiving it. So you don't need any experience, or you don't need to be at this level to experience the sound healing. So if it piques your curiosity, like, why not give it a go?
That's so true. I always think about it something like I have to do, but you don't have to do anything. You can just be. It's like, I don't know, the mind is always in like that doing state of like, what do I need to do next, rather than just. So that's really nice. I really like that.
And like with the journeys in everyone's experience, and I do them myself, is that you'll receive or have the experience that best serves you. So it can be really physical, so you might start to feel energy like tingling or coolness or heat. You might have like twitches in your body like that, or like your hands can go Jake, my partner, calls them dinosaur hands. But like hands start to move, but all it is the body, it's ready to release. We hold on to so much junk. So you're given this opportunity to relax and be like supported with energy and sound, so that your body can let go. So you can have that really physical experience, or you can be quite visual. So some people see like different colours or visions, or get insight in that kind of way. You can go to this place called the Void, which is like the most blissful, peaceful place ever. It's almost like you can't feel your body anymore, but you're receiving such deep cellular healing that it's almost like you need to be like in another dimension or something. It's pretty whacked. You can, like, I've had clients that have been visited from like their loved ones that have passed, and like that's just such a beautiful gift to give people. Or you can be visited by like different benevolent beings. Like I've been visited by Jesus before. I'm not a religious person, so that was pretty crazy. Like it can be the most physical and kind of not standard, but like expected experience, or it can be really mystical and spiritual, and you'll get whatever you need, and you just trust in the process, and just relax, I guess.
For sure.
And receive.
Do you want to do the last one?
No.
Not yet.
I thought you had a question. So.
I do have a question. Okay. What are your plans for 2020?
I've been thinking about this a bit.
As everyone always does, you know, it's that time of the year. We're about to go into a new year, and I always feel like everyone at the start of the year, like, yes, big plans. So.
Yeah. I guess my lessons this year have been a lot around like there's nothing to do. Like I don't have to do anything. It's more about being and creating space so that I can receive. Like I spent so much of my life, my early career, having these like massive goals and aspirations, and I still have them. But I'm getting used to feeling happy and successful and enough where I am, rather than needing to be here further ahead to feel like I'm worthy or I'm loved or accepted. And my theme this year is like be the tree. So it's like we look at like a massive tree and like you look at it, you're like, oh my god, it's so beautiful, and it's like old and wise, and you see another tree that's like half the size, but it's not any less beautiful because it's smaller or younger. It's still, you can still appreciate its beauty where it is. And so that was my message I got, was this year. It's like be the tree, like love yourself for where you are. You don't need to wait until you're full grown or you're where you think you need to be to like be worthy of stuff. So I think I'd like to carry that through to next year, and just being open to being surprised by opportunities and experiences, and finding joy in the little things. So, like I love like bike riding, so I want to like ride my bike more. I want to play some tennis, like just little things like that. And being unwell over the past few months and like being in hospital, I just like would have these like, just see myself like rock climbing, like just being so physical. When that's taken away from you, it's like oh my god, this body, like I'm not using it for everything that it's capable of. I love dancing in my living room and just get so much joy out of that. I want to do more of that, just like the really little things. And I think when we're in that state of joy and you take the pressure off yourself to like be doing all this stuff, like beautiful opportunities just come to you because you're not trying so hard to make stuff happen and hustle and push. And I'm reversing that, like you don't need to push to make life happen, just let it blossom.
I really like that.
On your spiritual journey, has there been other things that have come into your life along the way, like practices that you've adopted, or other spiritual concepts or anything?
I love ritual. So that's a really big part of my day and my life, and I didn't think it would be, but it's like it anchors me into my body and into like the physicality of the world. I have such a tendency to like just go up and kind of energetically leave my body, especially when I listen to music. I'm just like out, I'm in another place. So like even in meditation, like although it's a physical practice, so I love like drawing oracle cards and make sure I'm in nature, even just for a little bit every day. It helps me ground. I use crystals and essential oils, like that stuff. I love yoga. That's really supportive of me. I do that 5 times a week. Dancing, breath work, all that stuff.
Awesome. Is that stuff sort of things that you weren't doing previously? Like this is all in the last 3.5 years?
I started yoga for like, I think it was for like my back or something physical. An osteopath recommended it, so I started doing yoga, and just like once a week for a few years. This maybe started when I was 24. And a family friend had taught me meditation when I was 20 to help with my headaches, and I had been doing that on and off, but all those other things like breath work and taking care of my energy, like I do shaking as well, like helps shift stuff. It's all been in the last like couple of years.
I'm so fascinated about like, do you feel like your self-awareness has increased, like, or developed more in the last few years or have you always had that awareness? It just hasn't been active, or you know?
Yeah, I wasn't like aware, intuitive, spiritual. I was like so caught up in my head. Like fear was like the driving force of my life. Like I feel like most of the time now I'm in like that observing self. And at first I was kind of hard because I felt like I was not participating in life, that I was kind of like back. But it's been my saving grace because I'm always kind of conscious. I think that when you're in that place, most of the time you're conscious. And with my partner Jake, like we resolve conflict in a really beautiful way because we're both there and we're both in like that loving heart centered place the majority of our lives. I guess it's always hard when you have relationships with people who are unconscious and you're just approaching life like through a totally different lens.
I think it's really beautiful. I think you were so open-minded to it and have managed to get past those headaches. It's really nice. Our last question is just around what's a piece of wisdom or advice that you could leave the listeners with that maybe you have in practice in your day-to-day life, or just something you'd like to share. It can be more than one thing. I always say one. I always say one. No, it can definitely be more.
I think speaking from my experience, I guess the most helpful thing for me has been taking my power back. So if there's anything that you feel dissatisfied with or unhappy with in your life, I guess knowing that you have the power to change that. The answer's always inside you, as I said. And it's so much easier to like play the victim or blame other people or tune into the collective of something, or think in that old paradigm way of I'm stuck with this forever, or playing into those stories that keep you small. But knowing that like once you admit to yourself that perhaps you've created this, or this is a result of a belief or a program that you're running, it's a hard pill to swallow at first, but then it's so empowering because you can change anything in your life. You just have to be willing to like look at your shadow, look at your shit a little bit, but the freedom and the joy that comes afterwards, that's what keeps us all on this path, right? Like when you feel just those little bits of expansion, it's just like I think just everyone knowing that they have the power to create the life that they desire and they want to have.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Larissa.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, guys.
So good.